Hello, and welcome back to Any Day Anime. This is episode 3. I'm one of your hosts, Johnny, and I'm here with one of my favorite people in the whole world, Corie.
Hello, lovely people of the internet, and I guess Johnny too.
Hello, hello. Well, as always, we're going to have some anime news for you that Corey's brought to us. We're going to be doing a fun segment and testing some of the knowledge that Corie has on one of her favorite anime, My Hero Academia. And we're going to be ending it, as always, with yet another recommendation from her, this time Princess Jellyfish. So, first off, why don't we kick things off with something that was really big news, Corie? Funimation and Crunchyroll are combining. Can you tell me more about that?
Yes, so this was officially announced not too long ago that the two websites were going to merge together. They're going to pool their libraries. We're actually gaining a couple of other lesser-known websites joined in. They're also putting their animes on there and making the world's largest anime library. Personally, I kind of wish it wasn't going all on Crunchyroll, because that's what's happening now. This latest news is they were officially announcing all this stuff is going to be moved onto the Crunchyroll website by the end of March of 2022. Everything will be streamed exclusively on Crunchyroll.
Wow. So Funimation is essentially shutting down?
Yes. So, like, the website and the app that you use on, like, your Xbox or whatever streaming device you're using, that's going to be null and void by the end of March. So, probably around April is when it's actually going to shut down. But it's all moving over to the Crunchyroll website.
Wow. That definitely is really big. I mean, Funimation is what I've been using for some of these recommendations that you've been posting. But so then tell me, does this merger bring any new surprises along with it?
So obviously, like I said, we have the two smaller companies that are going to be joining. I can't remember the names of them off the top of my head. So that is a little bit of a surprise. But really the fact that it's all just moving over to Crunchyroll, which, Johnny, I don't think you know about this. Crunchyroll originally started off as an illegal downloading site. So it's where people would go to pirate anime. And then it became a legitimate anime supplier, if you will. And now it's going to be the host of all of these shows.
Huh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So tell me, what about this excites you, if anything? I mean, you said this, it sounded like this may not be your favorite thing in the world, but is there anything good about this that you appreciate?
I like the fact that it's going to be all in one spot, so people are going to be able to watch kind of at the same time. So obviously with Funimation and Crunchyroll having been separate, release dates were going to be a little different. Some were going to be Crunchyroll exclusive, some were going to be Funimation exclusive. So now that's all going to be together. I feel like a bunch of anime fandoms are going to be on the same page. What I don't like is the fact that it's all going over to Crunchyroll. I don't like how their website is set up. It still very much has that, pirated illegal streaming service vibe to it, with the random ads in the background taking up like half the page. And I just don't like how it's organized. It's not my favorite in the world. I actually really preferred Funimation's website. And it's a lot more expensive. Like, if you want to have a decent package, it's almost twice the amount I was paying for Funimation.
Oh, wow. So this seems like, it may not be the best overall in the long run, especially for anime fans then.
I wouldn't necessarily that it's not going to pay for itself, because it definitely will. You're getting all of these shows. Like, this is literally the world's largest anime library. Things are being released an hour after they're released in Japan, which is a really big deal for people who like to watch the shows as they come out. So it's definitely going to have everything. And again, I'm looking at the package where, it's like no ads, X, Y, and Z. You get all these things. If you want the base package, it's still going to be about the same price as Funimation. But I'd probably just go up that next level personally, just because I would hope that would cut down on maybe even the ads around the screen.
Okay, well, yeah, it definitely seems like there's going to be a lot of changes, some better than others, but hopefully it will prove to be a worthwhile merger. But we'll certainly be able to know in the coming weeks and months, and maybe we'll even have an update later on from you, Corie, about what you think of it. So moving on to the next topic. A few weeks ago, there was a Nintendo Direct, which, Corie, you know, is one of my favorite
Yes,
things in
I
the
do.
world. Yes, you do. There's a bunch of Nintendo games that got announced recently, and while most of them aren't really fitting the topic of anime, one of them does, and that is Fire Emblem Three Hopes. There's a new game, which is a hack and slash game in the world of Fire Emblem, of course, but specifically in the timeline of Fire Emblem Three Houses. And this really doesn't come as too much of a shock for me personally, because I should say I'm sensing a pattern here with some of these games, which is Breath of the Wild came out, that was huge, and then they made a hack and slash game called Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. And then a few years after Breath of the Wild came out, Three Houses came out. That was really huge. And so now here we are with yet another hack and slash game, but in Fire Emblem series, which is actually, I believe, the second Fire Emblem Heroes game. And so, yeah, it's called Three Hopes. You watched the trailer. What are your thoughts on this?
Normally, I'm not a big hack and slash fan, but I think the art style and the animation is absolutely stunning. I've been curious about Fire Emblem for a while, but this, I think, really sold it for me as to actually trying out the series. Probably not this particular game, though.
Yeah, no, that's fair. A lot of the games from what I've played have been very much battle strategy, whereas this, like we said, is hack and slash. So it's 1 versus 100. So you can knock out dozens of monsters in one attack. What you see is what you get for a lot of the cases. I read a comment on this genre last year that said this is one of the best games that requires you to constantly press X and sometimes Y. So that's pretty much all you're doing is you're running around and you're pressing a button over and over again and just watching your character demolish hordes of enemies. And that's fun sometimes. Maybe it's not your thing, Corie, but at least you appreciate the art style, and which I can agree, it looks beautiful. This game just looks so nice.
Yeah, and I also say this, I'm not a big gamer, I'm a baby gamer. So this might actually be a good step since I'm not having to do a bunch of things. It's pressing X a bunch and sometimes Y. So
Exactly,
this might be
yeah.
a good step for people who are interested and curious about getting into video games and may not have played a Switch before.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, a lot of people talk about the easy games to start with being like, Animal Crossing or, some platformer game. But I think hack and slash surprisingly might be a game that's on the simpler side. I mean, you can always change the difficulty to being easier or more difficult. But as far as like complexity, this definitely is not that. These always have the ability to be where you can have some sort of combos and, press X a certain amount of times and then Y a few times to get a certain move that you're looking for, but really all you have to do is just keep pressing one of those two buttons and you're good to go. So yeah, if you are, like you said, a baby gamer, or any of you out there are interested in starting your video game adventure, then this might be the one to start with.
Absolutely.
So moving on to the next topic, Corie, this one, oh my.
I'm so excited for this one.
Way of the House Husband. Corie, can you tell me what's going on here?
Okay, so The Way of the House Husband is getting a live action series. And Johnny, you have never watched Way of the House Husband. That's correct.
Right. I have not been blessed with whatever this is.
Okay, so for those of you who've never watched it, this is a great slice of life anime with a lot of comedy. It's about a former Yakuza boss who gets married, and his wife is a working woman, and he loves her so much, he decides to be a house husband. He's going to stay home. He's going to take care of their cat child. He's going to do all of the housework, and he puts the exact same energy he did as a Yakuza boss into taking care of the house and being the best house husband. He is in the housewives volleyball club. He's gardening. He's on the HOEA committee. He's fantastic.
Amazing. It's what everyone wants in a partner, really.
Yes. And the fact that he's voiced by Jonas Scott, who is fantastic, only adds to it.
So, can you tell us, what are you expecting to be different with this live action version?
So, obviously, anime and live action are two very different mediums, but watching the trailer for it, it seems they're putting a lot of the same style into the show, so I'm actually really looking forward to this. They have this really cool Amapia comic font for, like intense stare. Since that's a big part of the anime, was sticking to that traditional manga style, in specifically in like the transitions and how the characters moved. And then just being over the top expressive, which in the very few live action Japanese shows I've watched, that seems to be a norm. But again, that's a very small pool that I've experienced. But I think this is going to be one of those few times where it's going to work both as an animated source and then a live action one as well.
Okay. Is there anything in particular about this version that you're hoping to see?
I kind of want to see some like really cheesy fight scenes. We don't really get those a lot in the anime. It's very much these people are going on a different path in life after they retire out of the mafia, quote unquote retire. But they're going on these different, much more civilian domestic life paths. So I definitely think the few times where, he has to get a little like rough and rowdy, I really just want to be cheesy and just so over the top.
Okay. And then on the other side of things, are there any fears that you have that come to mind?
Not that come to mind. Really, I think if they just stick with the over-the-top acting, if they, kind of stick to that source material, which really is, this man just loves his wife so much that he's going to do anything for her, and he's just going to do the best he can to be a good house husband. I think they'll be okay. I think it'll be a really good show if they just stick to those two things.
Okay, interesting. So, all right, so moving on to the next part, there's another show that's coming out. This one, though, with a Season 2, Rising of the Shield Hero. The Season 2 trailer just dropped recently. Corie, do you want to tell us a little bit about the show so far?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Rising of the Shield Hero is one of my newest binges. My boyfriend and I actually spent a solid weekend doing nothing but watching Season 1. And what it's about is there are these 4 guys who get pulled from 4 different realities of Japan. So, like, it deals with alternate timelines a little bit, and they get brought to this D&D medieval fantasy type realm where they're like, hey, you're each going to be given a weapon, and you're going to save us from this apocalypse that's happening. And the 4 weapons are sword, spear, bow, and shield. And our main character obviously has the shield. No one likes him for some reason. He gets accused of a crime he did not commit and therefore gets ostracized. No one will join his party. So he goes and he essentially buys a slave to be like, hey, I need you to help me fight. It works out in the end. I swear. It's not weird. But they just go through, and he is just a begrudging hero. He's morally gray. He's like, I don't want to be here. No one likes me. I don't like anybody. I just want to make some bank and maybe stop an apocalypse if it goes with my whims. And the thing is, he's a good hero without trying, and it's so frustrating for him because he's like, I have to clean up all these messes, and no one likes me. I feel like he's salty. He's salty. That's the best way to describe this character.
That does sound really interesting. I like the idea. It's definitely not a new concept to have a reluctant hero, but I mean, I'm a big fan, as you know, of the D&D-esque world.
This is definitely up your alley. I know you like the more slice of life, but this is, with you liking things like D&D and Critical Role, this is definitely going to be up your alley.
Okay. So tell us, what are you looking forward to with this new season?
Not to spoil anything that happened first season, I'm really interested in us getting to know the villains a little bit better. We got a little bit of backstory on them in the last couple of episodes. Really humanized them. So I think getting to know them a little bit better. We're rebuilding a town. We're going to be exploring other kingdoms that have different values and treat people a little differently. Some new races are going to be popping up. So I think it's going to be a great world building season. As long as it can still deliver those epic fight scenes and just kind of stick with, I'm here, so I may as well, but you're going to have to pay me type character and that attitude, I think it'll be a solid second season.
Okay. So, before we move on, tell us, Corie, what is it about this series that makes it so special to you, and why should other people watch it?
has that sentimental feeling for it. I watched it with someone I really cared about who really enjoys the show. And then I really like it just because, yes, it's a reluctant hero, but he knows he's a reluctant hero, and he plays into that trope the entire time. And then you also just have some of the most lovable characters. Philo is this little girl with wings. She's absolutely adorable. Love her. So I think just kind of getting to experience a whole new world and, just have these little trinkets of like realism and cynicism, I think makes it just a unique story.
Okay, all right, interesting. So, moving on to the next topic, the last one of the episode, the winners of the Anime Awards were just announced not too long ago. So, Corie, do you want to go over some of the largest category wins?
Absolutely. So, really, we're going to be focusing on 3 animes. These are the people who won the most awards. And it should come to no surprise that Attack on Titan, Jujutsu Kaisen, and Demon Slayer are those top 3. So, just a little brief overview. Attack on Titan won Anime of the Year. Again, not surprising. Best Antagonist, as it should be. Eren Yeager can go bleep himself. Best Japanese Voice Actor Performance, also for Eren Yeager. And Best Opening Sequence. Again, that's not really a surprise. They've been putting out bangers from the very beginning. Jujutsu Kaisen, Best Girl, I Can See It. Best Fight Scene and Best Character Design, both I can very much understand, along with it being the Best Action Anime of the year. And then finally, Demon Slayer winning Best Animation, Best Score, Best Ending Sequence, and Best Film. None of these are a surprise to me. But I want to talk about my top honorable mentions because I feel they were robbed, and that's Skate the Infinity. They did win Best English Voice Performance, which, if you've listened to the dub, is very clear. That goes to the guy who played Adam, the antagonist. Great performance. But they were also nominated for Best Ending Sequence, which I feel they were probably robbed on. I can't really say anything as far as Demon Slayer goes, just because I still haven't finished the first episode. But the ending of Skate the Infinity is so calm and relaxing. It's on my playlist for when I'm driving, especially in the summer. And then it was also nominated for Best Character Design, which I still feel is an absolute robbery because, oh man, those characters are so well designed. The artwork is amazing. And I'm not saying that because we have a beautiful green-haired himbo of a character.
Other than Skate, Skate the Infinity, were there any other shows that you think got snubbed?
So I can't really say because a lot of these are animes that I just haven't been able to bring myself to watch yet. Like, a lot of them are on my list, like Odd Taxi. But I'm just having a hard time motivating myself to watch new animes. It's a problem I have. Though there is one I recently started that won Best Comedy, which is Comey Can't Communicate. And I'm actually a little surprised that it won Best Comedy. I don't think it's the funniest, but that's also subjective.
That might be one that I have to give a try as well.
Yeah, I definitely think it can, up its game, but I definitely think there were funnier animes.
Were there any particular shows or actors or characters or music that got a win that you were really happy that deserved it?
Like I said, Skate the Infinity, the English voice actor for Adam, definitely deserved it. Added a wonderful flair that the show really needed as far as its antagonist goes. And honestly, I'm just really happy for Attack on Titan. As you know, I'm not the biggest fan of Attack on Titan. I don't like Eren, but I do think that it's an awesome concept, and the artwork is good. And I do think it deserves Anime of the Year and Best Antagonist and all the other awards that it won. I think it truly deserved them from just how beloved the show is at this point. It was a groundbreaking anime. It continues to be as it's, coming to its conclusion. I'm pretty proud of Attack on Titan.
Okay. Well, before moving on, is there any last statements you want to make about the Anime Awards in general?
next year, with it being a combined Funimation and Crunchyroll, you know, library, I hope that we get to see some more nominations from smaller animes, which I know sounds weird, but I definitely think there should be, something. I feel like it should be broken down. We might get some more categories just because there is so much to explore within the world of anime. So I'd love to see them come up with some more categories for these shows to go into now that they're going to have an expanded library.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I think indie films are something that a lot of people talk about as being, unexpected brilliance, basically. So I would imagine that the same logic goes for anime as well, which is, some of the smaller studios that maybe don't have the best amount of money thrown at them. Maybe they're just there for a good story. They're just good acting, good story, good writing, good character design. So, yeah, hopefully there can be more smaller anime that are going to be rising up. So, moving on to our fun segment of the week, I've got a quiz. Corie has proclaimed to be a very knowledgeable viewer of My Hero Academia, so I'm going to test her knowledge on that show. I've got a list of 10 questions here. Corie said that she doesn't need multiple choice, so... So, I do want to make a disclaimer that My Hero Academia, while I have seen the first season, it was years ago, and so I don't know. It's hard for me to tell exactly if any of these questions are way too easy or way too hard, so bear with me. I tried my best. Also, I'm trusting. Okay. Also, I'm trusting that the quizzes that I had found online for these questions actually inputted the correct answers. So I guess big whoops if they're not correct, but we'll find out.
All right, let's go.
All right. So question number 1: how long does Izuku train to inherit All Might's quirk?
It couldn't have been any less than 3 months because it's supposed to be over not necessarily the summer break, but like the summer semester. So I'm going to say about 3 to 4 months. What?
It was apparently 10 months, according to the nameless site that I got.
Oh,
this
wow.
from.
Yeah, I guess that does make sense. Anyway, I'm not going to excuse that.
Okay. Question 2. What job did All Might initially suggest to Izuku since he wanted to save people?
Oh, police force.
Yeah, okay. Correct. Question 3. Where does Izuku train in order to be able to receive All Might's power?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so there's this beach, right? And it's covered in junk. And so All Might takes him out there. He sits on a fridge and makes him drag all of this junk away from the beach and clean up the beach as his training.
Yeah, that is correct. Options that I got were all Dagobah Municipal Blank Park. And there was like a beach park, and then 3 other something parks. But yeah, I remember it was on a beach, and wasn't gonna make you guess Dagobah Municipal Beach Park. I just, beach is good enough. But yeah, so you got that correct. My Hero Academia is based on a manga that was started in what year?
What year did that come out? I actually don't know this one, so I'm just gonna take a stab at 2014.
Oh my gosh, correct.
Oh my gosh, yes!
Okay. Season 1 has how many episodes? This is question 5.
Not enough. Let's see. So it has to be around 15 to 30, somewhere in that time range.
It's only 13.
13. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yep. So with 5 questions, you have 3 correct so far.
Oh, okay.
Question 6. Who gave Aizawa his hero name?
Oh, President Mike.
Yes. Correct. So that is 4 correct out of 6 so far. Question 7. What effect did the My Hero Academia battle with Nomu have on Eraserhead's abilities?
Battle of Nomu. Okay. Oh, okay. So if we're going off of the one based off the USJ attack, he was decaying during this fight. So it definitely messed up with his eyesight. And spoiler alert for those of you who aren't reading the manga, if we're talking about the current war arc, his quirk is basically gone. He lost an eye. Like, he can't do his job no more.
I'll accept that. What I have, just because I can't tell you that you're wrong and you sounded pretty convincing, what I have is he couldn't use his quirk as quickly.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so I'll consider that correct.
Okay.
So question 8. Including Deku, how many people have been the holder of One for All?
Oh, he's number 9.
Correct. Question 9. And so far you have 6 out of 8 correct. Question 9. Who said the quote, "It wouldn't be very rock and roll of me, right?"
Jiro, that's my girl!
Correct. You have 7 out of 9. Question 10. How many siblings does Todoroki have?
Okay, so, again, spoiler alerts. Actually, no, I think the whole fandom pretty much knows this. So there's Dabi/Toya, Natsuo, and Fuyumi. Obviously not in the correct order. So he has 3. 2 brothers and a sister.
I have that he has 4.
That is incorrect.
I can't tell you that it is or is not correct, only that I was told that it's 4.
Okay, I am gonna call in, by the way, we have a new editor. Indy, I'm calling you in to back me up on this one.
Hi, I'm Indy. I can back you up that there would be 4 Todorokis total.
Okay.
Including Shoto Todoroki. So he would have 3 siblings.
All right. Well, I believe you. I'm glad I gave that disclaimer that with the information I have, it could be incorrect. So I will give you that point.
Thank you.
And you have 8 out of 10 correct. So you know what? Good job, Corie.
Thank you.
That was great. So, moving on to the final part of the episode, our recommendations. Last time, Corie, you recommended Princess Jellyfish, and oh my gosh, this was the purest, delightfully awkward show I've ever seen. Tell us all about it.
Okay, so I always say Princess Jellyfish is the inverse of Ouran High School Host Club. So instead of these teenage boys who are attractive, wealthy, and trying to flirt with you, it's these middle-aged women who are terrified of people who are not involved in their special interest and will, quote-unquote, trench a stone. And our main character, her special interest is, she has 2, art and jellyfish. And she's just kind of struggling emotionally after getting a job rejection. So she goes to visit this jellyfish at a pet store, realize it's going to die because it got cohabitated with another species of jellyfish it's not supposed to be with. And that's where she meets this lovely woman, but it's actually a man who likes to cross-dress, and I want to say that it is cross-dressing, he says it himself, but it's really this wonderful story of not only like self-expression, but also learning self-confidence and embracing who you are. It's absolutely adorable and so cute and so pastel.
It was really, it was so, like, awkward, I think is the best word for me to describe it, but not cringy, just kind of like realistic and pure. It was pure awkwardness, and I thought it was so cute and adorable. Because it was a group of friends, like you said, that were all just very odd. They were just oddballs, and I really appreciated that because they were all unique and loners outside of their own sisterhood, as they said. But it was really cute. The main character, she seemed like a horse girl, but except for jellyfish instead, which
yes.
which was amazing. Can you tell us what about it was what drew you to this show?
So I first watched this back in high school, and it was one of my best friends, Paige. She told me about it because she's like, "Oh, you like Ouran? You should try out this show." And I watched it and I absolutely fell in love because again, it was so awkward, especially as someone who was an awkward teenager. And I had my little niche of close friends that we would talk about like kind of the same stuff. So maybe it wasn't Jellyfish, but it'd be like musicals, color guard, all these other things. We had our little connection. So to really resonate with that character, and then to have someone like bust into their little bubble and be like, hey, like, you matter, you have worth. I think that just really resonated with me as a young adult.
Absolutely. Well, you can't get enough of that, of the good feels in TV today. So I appreciate that as well.
Yeah, and just the humor in it. Obviously, I love Clara, the little jellyfish who serves as the mascot for the transitions. Absolutely wonderful. So sarcastic.
I laughed so loudly when she was imagining Clara talking, and she was worried that Clara was going to die because of like what you said, there was another jellyfish that she shouldn't have been paired up with, and Clara was like, help, I'm freaking dying over here, and I'm like, just that way of speaking was just so funny to me. Just hearing that from like from her mind as what Clara would be saying was just really funny.
Yes, I absolutely love it.
Yeah. So tell me, what would you rank this then? How many jellyfish named Clara out of 5 would you give this show?
This is a solid 4 out of 5 Claras for me.
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna have to agree with you. I think this is a 4 out of 5 Claras. This was a really solid show. You've been really knocking it out of the park with what is up my alley, and so I would be interested in watching a little bit more at least to see if it really is up my alley. But yeah, I enjoyed this for sure.
Well, I'm really glad to hear it, and I hope you're gonna like this next one that I have for you. So when I go to pick animes for you to watch, I kind of keep in mind things that you enjoy outside of television or just in real life in general. And obviously one of the first ones that I think of when it comes to you and our little group of friends, board games. And I happened to stumble across this anime where it's focusing on 3 girls who bond over board games, and it's called After School Dice Club. And I think you're really gonna like this one.
That does sound exactly right up my alley. So I am definitely, I'm interested. You said After School Dice Club?
Yes, After School Dice Club. You can still find this one on Animation. It hasn't moved over yet. Not Animation, Funimation. Yes, it's still on Funimation. It hasn't been moved over yet. Obviously, watch the first episode more if you enjoy it. But yeah, I think you're gonna like this one.
Okay, yeah, I will give it a shot, and we'll be talking about that on the next episode. So, was there anything else? Any closing remarks from you, Corie, before we sign off for the day?
I am very sad I did not get to talk about Hawks enough in that My Hero quiz. So, before we part, I'm just gonna say
I'll make sure
that Birdman is the best character in the show.
Well, maybe in a future episode, I'll have a pop quiz exclusively about Hawks.
Please do.
Well, with that, we will sign off. So, thank you and enjoy your anime.
Bye.